Hi everyone, hope you all had a good new year. Now, I'm not really one for making New Year's resolutions. I always feel like if I say something is a New Year's resolution, then I'm not going to do it. I am, however, going to do my very best to make 2 videos a week. Editing Casca, just putting in for a second to say month, not week, month. I did write down month on my script, but for some reason in every single take, I said week. Don't know why. For you guys, I'm not always going to be able to do a physical craft project because often my health isn't that great and materials can be a bit pricey. For those times when I can't actually make something, I'll try and do a video on like Photoshop or drawing, silly things like that. Now, I was lucky with this project because the UK recently went into lockdown number 3 and all non-essential shops closed. I did manage to get out just before, and in Dunelm they had this fabric. Can you see that? It's got little zebras on it, and as somebody with hypermobility spectrum disorder, I could not pass up getting some fabric with little zebras on it. My plan for this project is to make a shirt. I did originally get a pattern from a website called Modern Sewing Patterns, but when I laid out all the pattern pieces, I quickly realised that I had nowhere near enough fabric for this particular pattern. I then remembered that I had a shirt pattern in this book, which my other half very kindly got me for Christmas. It's not in the exact style that I want, but it's going to be a good base for me to have a little play with and kind of make it my own. I started off by laying all my pattern pieces on some rubbish fabric I had to make a mock-up. I marked my seam allowances on the fabric, cut everything out, and then got to work stitching it all together. First I attached the yoke, which also involved doing some ruffles to make everything fit. Next I moved on to the sleeves, which also had ruffles as well as a pleat. I didn't bother pressing this because it's just a mock-up, it's not really that important. After attaching the sleeves, I stitched down the inner seam of the sleeve and the side seam of the bodice. I find this is an easier way for me to attach sleeves rather than sewing the whole garment together and then trying to fit the sleeves in after. Okay, so this is where we are at so far. I have got the shirt on my lovely dress form. This is a dress form that I made using a pattern from Bootstrap Dress Forms. Just put in all your measurements and it'll generate a pattern for you. I did have to make some alterations to it because it didn't come with an option to include hip dips. So I really wanted it to have hip dips because I've got quite prominent ones, and when you're making certain items of clothing, then it is something that you need to take into account really to get the fit right. So, and she's not perfect. She's a little bit wonky, a little bit lopsided, but so am I, so it's okay. Anyway, back to the shirt. As you can see, it's quite big. Bigger than I was expecting. It did say in the book that the final garment measurements will be a few inches bigger, but I don't really like how much bigger this is. I want it to be more fitted. So what I'm going to do is cut down here and down here, and then I can bring all this extra fabric in and make it a lot more fitted. I might do a seam down the back as well. We'll see. We'll see. I do like the sleeves, although I would bring them up more because I didn't like where they were falling. They were falling like here on me, and make this area a bit poofier. I will also make them a bit shorter as well, because right now I tried it on before and they're coming to like here on me, and I don't like that. I want it to be more here. I'm also going to adjust the neckline and bring that up, and then I can do like a nice rounded collar on that. So I will start pinning and I will catch you later. After turning the shirt inside out, I pinned some anchor points to the back, sides and front of the dress form. I then took in all the areas I felt were too baggy to give it a more fitted look. I decided to just do the one side as it didn't need to fit perfectly to each side of me. I extended the collar area by attaching some scrap fabric. After seam ripping the shirt, I was then able to use this as a base to alter my pattern. I used the new yoke pattern to make adjustments to the main bodice section. The previous pattern had ruffles on it, so there was quite a lot of excess fabric to be removed. I also extended the band on the sleeve so it could be folded under and all my seams hidden later on. Now the scary part. I think I rearranged the pieces on my fashion fabric about 10 times to get everything to fit nicely. Yes, I did use regular pen to mark my seam lines because I'm stupid and I forgot. No one's going to see the inside of the shirt though, so it's not a huge problem. After cutting everything out, it was time to stitch it all together. Don't you just love it when you run out of cotton on your bobbin and you don't realise? I decided to finish all my seams by hand felling them. This was done by cutting one seam shorter than the other, folding the longer seam over it and stitching it down using teeny tiny stitches that Bernadette Banner will be proud of. I used iron-on interfacing for the collar, and while I was at it, I pressed those pleats on the sleeves. For my last bit of machine stitching, I attached the sleeve, attached the collar by sewing around the outside edge, turning it inside out, and then top stitching around it. I also did the hem and the buttonholes using a buttonhole foot. To finish it all off, I added some super cute buttons and hand felled my remaining seams. So the question is, how much zebra is too much zebra? I'll admit that there was a point while I was sewing this when I started to wonder if maybe this fabric was a little bit much. Now that I'm wearing it though, I actually kind of love it. Like, I don't think it's too much at all. I think maybe if the background fabric had been proper white instead of this off-white, then it might have been a bit too much. Construction wise, it's not perfect. I did make quite a few mistakes. Some of the seams are super teeny tiny, so they were kind of fiddly to sew. I didn't get the neckline quite right, so I had to add the little triangle pieces to fill in some gaps. But you know what? I've never made a collar before, so I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. The buttonholes are a little bit messy, but again, this was my first time ever using a buttonhole foot, and I'm sure that's something that with practice I'll get a lot better at. Fit wise, I'm super happy with it. It's actually a novelty for me to have a shirt where the waistline's in the right place. It's also, there's nowhere where it's pulling or too tight or anything, so yeah, overall I'm really happy with it. I think next time though, I will get a pattern first and then work out how much fabric I need, rather than getting a fabric that I like and then trying to find a pattern that will fit it. Because true, I've got a wearable shirt, but it would have been a lot neater if I'd got a pattern in the style that I like and then got the fabric to fit that. I've still got a wearable shirt though, and at the end of the day, if anybody's close enough to see what mistakes that I've made, then we're what you're playing at. We're in a global pandemic and you shouldn't be that close to me anyway. Wow, okay, that came out way more stern than it was supposed to. Note to self, don't try and make jokes. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did and fancy giving me a like, it would be very much appreciated. I'm always open to your constructive criticisms, so anything you think I could have done better or anything that you'd like to see in the future, then let me know in the comments below. And if you'd like to see more videos of me trying to make things, then why not subscribe? I will see you next time. Bye. It's really comfy and there's no bits that are like too tight or anything, as she says, if she opens a button.